Welcome to Understanding Conscious Cryptids with me, Khat Hansen. I am bringing you this show in an attempt to educate you about the forgotten creatures and beings that exist alongside of us on this amazing planet that we call home. Many of these hidden beings are elusive and highly intelligent. Our ancient ancestors of North and South America knew of and understood these beings quite well. Many people are coming into contact with these elusive creatures, and they do not have any knowledge or understanding of what it is they are seeing and interacting with. This oftentimes leaves these individuals fearful and confused. It's my intention to shed some light and share knowledge through this series. I'm going to help alleviate that fear and confusion. It is time for the light to shine through the darkness. If you are interested in sharing your encounter, contact me directly at khathansen@yahoo.com, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Hi everyone, welcome to Understanding Conscious Cryptids with me, Khat. I hope everyone's doing good today. Today's lesson is going to be about fairies, fae, the unseen people, whatever you want to call them. But I've had a request and I thought, you know what, I've had more than one request and I kind of did a video on them already, but I think I need to be a little bit more technical here so that everyone understands what I'm talking about. So I'm going to just go for it here, and if you have questions, I'm sure you guys will contact me and let me know, okay? Before explaining the place of fairies in the cosmic scheme, I kind of wish that I can clear up some of the misconceptions out there, the garbage that's out there that's being propagated by fairy tale books. And I hate those things. I'm sorry, but I do. It's such garbage. It just makes me nuts. Okay? First and foremost, people, fairies, fae, are not nature spirits, okay? Many people who describe fairies are actually describing elementals. Yeah, there's a big difference here, okay? I really am going to get into this. I think I better, because it's hard. It's hard for people to understand, okay? The pure consciousness of the preconceptual divides into 50 archetypes, okay? And each which acts as a resistance that changes the pure energy going through them, okay? So, let me break that down for you. What I just said is that of all the spirit that's out there that makes all the different archetypes, each one has to go through like a density to change from pure energy into that density, aka human form, aka fairy form, aka stayama form, okay? From the ethers, these energies go through further resistances, which gives rise to different functions, which determines their form. So if we need more fairies, then that's what's going to happen. They're going to make more fairies. If we need more stayama, then they're going to make more stayama. There are different parallel worlds due to the manifestation of different lines of function and form. Okay, so each world is different, as I've said many times, and they each have a different job to do, and they have a certain way of looking, okay? So descending consciousness will take on function and form according to the plane in which it settles. Okay, that's what I just said. So if you drop onto the earth and you come here, you're going to look like a human being. That's just the way it is, okay? The same consciousness that becomes a human in our world, if it takes a different function and form by descending into the fairy realm, will become a fairy, okay? So if it stops in the ethers, it's going to become a sylph, a salamander, an undine, or a gnome, okay? So that means if it stops somewhere out there in the atmosphere, that's where it's going to stay. Fairies are not elementals, okay? They're just not. They exist on a plane that is parallel to ours. They have similar form to us, but different boundaries. Their plane is that of the spirit of nature. This is also created out of the ethers and the interpenetrates of our world. Okay? So it's what gives rise to life, evolution, and the belief in magic, etc. So even, some people use fairies, like a personalized science, okay? They give them all these gifts, they just don't have, they attribute to them natural phenomena, such as the opening of flowers, the first day of spring brings showers. This is just not what fairies do. They're just not about this, okay? Sylphs are elementals of air, okay? They feed on the mind, on thought and mind, and they give light. They appear as very light, ethereal people. Okay, salamanders are elementals of fire. They strengthen will, produce transformation and transcendence, and they purify. They take the form from your expectation, often appearing as lizards. Undines are elementals of water. They produce magnetism and chemistry. They increase the life force, and they even give emotional strength. Okay, so these guys appear as a blur of color, but then they take form from our imagination and take on human-like characteristics, often appearing like a mermaid, I guess. Okay, there's a good example. They appear as a mermaid, okay? Gnomes are elementals of earth. They draw energy from the ethers and release it to matter. Okay, so remember we had our discussion before about matter. So they give life and substance. They take form from whoever they meet. So will usually appear human, but stocky and kind of earthy looking. Okay? Now that I've gotten that explanation out there, I would really like to help you understand what you may or may not be dealing with here. These beings have always had access to this realm. With the earth acting as a type of classroom, it only makes sense that there have always been older classmates. These older beings have their own place, but like to pop over to see what's new here, what's going on here, man, what's hip and happening. Some have even taken a liking to our realm and become somewhat native to our lovely sphere, living and propagating here. I know, more neighbors. There are a few that actively try to help us, but for the most part they cannot deny their nature, which is to be ornery and cause mischief. Okay, let the debate begin. Everyone who practices magic will be letting me have it, but please, let me begin by explaining myself here, okay? Before you guys jump on me, just hear me out, okay? You see, as an anthropologist, I believe that every myth, every fable, every tall tale has some degree of truth to it, right? You guys have heard me say that like a million times. Many times as we begin to deconstruct the story, we have a light bulb moment when we find this truth. I do believe that Adam had a first wife who was called Lilith. I do believe that she ran away and that she lived in the wilderness and begat different types of children who were not, pure or, of spirit or intention. So that in the long run, Heavenly Father had to separate them away from humans, thus their own dimensional timelines. Oh, sure, some of them become some sort of myth when it comes to their attitudes, but that is why they were allowed to remain, while others took full advantage of chaos and slipped into our realm. Okay, so I'm telling you guys, even totally good children will slip up occasionally, and that's what's happened to our realm. Okay, there will come a time of reckoning at which point they will probably leave this realm, like rats leaving a sinking ship. Okay? I know, that's not a very good analogy, and I know everyone out there is just like, oh my cat, how can you say stuff like that? Well, you guys know me, but there it is. And then I have no problem telling people, well, that's the way it is, deal with it. Sorry, but it's the truth. These guys are only visitors here. They have their own timelines. They have their own realms. They're gonna go where they want to go. and they really just don't care about us, you know. And I know it's hard for people to understand that, because I've seen so many people out there involved with fairy furniture and fairy cookbooks and fairy clothing and fairy houses. It's like, okay, if that's what you want to be involved in, that's fine. But you need to understand that the fairies that you're talking about are not indigenous to here. They're not. They were created, and then they were allowed to live here for a little bit, and then they had to leave. And they have their own timelines, like I said, their own places to live, and Earth isn't one of them. You gotta remember, this place is a school, and everybody comes here to study, but people graduate, people move, people leave, and that's exactly what's gonna happen with these guys. When the time comes, they're not gonna want to stick around here. They're gonna want to go back to their place of existence, and that's perfectly fine. But I just need for people to understand that what you're seeing is a being that's normally about my size. This is short, you know, they're about 5'2", 5'3", okay? But they can change their form. They're a totally different type of being, and they can change their form. So does that make them evil? No. Just being ornery and full of piss and vinegar make you evil? Not really. It just makes you cantankerous and ornery. You know, and sometimes mischievous. You're going to do what you're going to do. I have kids. My kids are like that, you know. I can't say all my kids are the same, because they're not. You know, each of them is different, and each fae is different. Okay, I mean, seriously, you may meet a goblin that's pretty nice, that likes you. And Lord forbid you meet a girl one, because she's going to be all up on you. You know, I mean, they seriously go after human males. Oh my heck, do they go after human males? I mean, it turned into horn dogs. So I'm telling you now, you guys just need to be aware of what you're dealing with. Okay, not everybody out there has got these little Tinkerbell look-like beings. Okay, you got to remember, these guys are shapeshifters. So I need everyone to kind of be aware of what you're dealing with there. Just take a step back and look, okay?